Man, I tell you, it's days like this give you a little bit of hope. Refuel your batteries. We've got a message finally coming out to unify and unplug. We've got some conspiracy porn that'll get your jimmy jamming. And we've got, my opinion, the best resource for SHTF. It's better than gold. But first things first, I got a question from somebody asking, why do I do a night vision filter? Well, it's so your mom doesn't recognize me. Man, she's stalking me everywhere else. I need a little bit of a break. She's too damn needy. Just tell her that I'll call her when I want a sandwich. Welcome to the Opinionated Prepper. I'm Steve. Man, I'm telling you, it's a good day. It really is. I started a little while ago, a few days ago, a couple of weeks ago, whatever. Made a video up, starting it, called A Rallying Cry. I believe that one's the one. But I was basically saying, the only thing that we can really do, the only thing that's not going to let us fall into their trap, if you will, is to unplug. The only way to win the game is to not play the game. And you see, I'm a very, very small person. I'm a little guy. I just got started. You know, so a few people, they're hearing the message. But today, I've noticed Poplar Report, I've noticed The Prepared Homestead, I've noticed Pinball. Big guys that people like you and me respect. Guys that actually, when they have a message, they can get it out there to a big audience and it takes shape. They're parroting the message, they're echoing it, they're getting together, they're doing something that I can't do, and it's greatly needed for us. They're telling everybody, unplug, get prepared, don't play the game, don't be stupid and do things like a stupid racist son of a bitch does. Don't get yourself in trouble. Just say, I ain't doing it, I'm done. And who do we have to thank for all of this? Well, the government themselves. Big finance, big banks, big government. COVID regulations coming back to play. Boy, that's kind of going to bite them in the rear end, huh? It's funny, I've been asking a couple of people, because where I am, you know, the protocols were, you know, they were kind of in place, they kind of weren't. Some were mandated, some were, you know, if you want to, you go ahead and do it. But where I come from, back in New York, heavily regulated. You know, some friends around in Texas, some in Kansas, some Pacific Northwest. Either which way I started talking to them, back up in New York, hospital COVID policies are coming back in. You have certain airports that are requiring to social distance, requiring the masks, enacting COVID protocol again. You have, from what I've seen, thanks to Pinball, you have police, you know, doing little billboard signs, do your part, stay 6 feet apart. We're doing that mess again. Didn't work the first time, won't work this time. You know, but people are waking up to that. You have, because of that, people in droves taking their savings and taking their money out of the big financial institutions and saying, no, you screwed us, I don't trust you with my money anymore. I think I'll put it under the mattress. And banks are having a panic attack. They've already lost a ton of money when it came to poor investments. Places that they invested in are filing for bankruptcy. They're coming belly up all over the place. And we're not giving them our money to play with anymore. Deposits are at a record low. They're throwing a fit. COVID comes into place. Boy, they're not going to have anything anymore. They're just not. It's going to be done and over with. And what gets me excited is because all of this nonsense is coming to a head. Is it going to end? No. It's just getting started, and it's about to get worse. But this era is ending. Why does it get you excited, you might ask? Well, because this era is ending. We're starting to get into where like-minded people like you and me, it's going to pay off. It's going to benefit. The prepared people, they're not going to be caught by surprise. We're ready for this. It's what we've been preparing for. And when the entire world is upside down, we're going to be ready to be able to help us and our family and our friends and our loved ones. But people are starting to wake up, and they don't even realize it yet. But when you have wonderful people putting out fantastic comment like Pinball, and like the Prepared Homestead, and like Poplar Report, like Bear Independent getting people ready, when you have these big people, Off Grid with Doug and Stacy, American Homestead, Adapt 2030, ITM Trading, all of these people that have been at it for years, and they're sounding the alarm. And people like me jumped on the bandwagon a little bit too late. I've been doing this for a long time, but I haven't been doing this for a long time. You know, and when I come across the channels, I'll say, you know what? They're parroting the same message, same thing I believe in. So I start watching them, and I get tips and tricks, and I said, I never thought of that. I'm going to start doing it like this, and I'm going to add this into my routines. And I was already awake, but they wiped the sleep from my eyes. And they're going to do it again. And all of these channels are starting to get to people because they're getting scared, they're getting paranoid, and they're realizing that law is not the same as justice. It hasn't been for a while, but we're starting to see it now. You know, I can get into an entire biblical speech on the God of this earth and the God of the universe, and what the God of this earth, or this world, uses to worship Him more, the root of all evil, right? And if you have the true one God, and His currency is faith, and faith in His Son, then you're set free from His law, the law. And then you have a cheap carbon copy, a facsimile, a reproduction of this world, where the God of this world uses His Savior, which is money. And if you have enough of that, just like if you have enough of the Son of God, you're free from the law. Justice isn't a thing. It doesn't matter one way or the other. I have a daughter-in-law who a friend that she grew up with, terribly unalived in Oklahoma last year. They are nowhere near, they're nowhere closer to finding who did it than what they were a year ago. But I'm really, really glad the FBI came in and wrestled that innocent diary from the bad, bad people. You know, that diary that belongs to Biden's daughter that had the secrets that could really, really put egg on his face. You know, they got justice. You have people that are popular, that have power, and they're skirting everything. They're skirting treason. But you have an ex-president who wasn't liked very much, and he's getting trumped up charges. So where's the justice in that? You know, but a little bit of conspiracy porn there. I've always said he was an evil genius. He raised $7.1 million after that mugshot came out of him from Georgia. So when is it that they're trying to hinder his election, and it comes out that they're more or less just doing him a favor? You know, there's a little bit. Is he the evil genius behind this conspiracy theory, behind all of the bad things coming at him? You know, is FedNow in the CBDC the evil genius behind all of these bank branches closing and all of these financial institutions going belly up, so that way we have no other financial institution to go to and we have no choice but to use the Fed? Is COVID the reason that they changed livestock antibiotics from over the counter to prescription only a couple of months ago? Because that one thing and that other thing that was proven to do better than the jab and the masks and the hospitalization and the antivirals they pump, they were over the counter livestock meds. I don't suggest that. I really don't. You get human grade, you can get a prescription. But still, people were taking the over the counter livestock meds and they were doing okay. It was making them better. So did they have a plan that in the fall there was going to be a new variant of COVID? A variant that's named after the first one, a female demon that delights in bloodshed and warfare, and another one, Forax, whatever, the second variant's coming out now, which is a furnace, the name of a constellation, but in Latin it's a furnace. And it was a goddess of earth and fire and strife and everything else. Now, why would they name COVID and have two variants of COVID after demons and pagan goddesses that were hell-bent on destruction and warfare and bloodshed? Kind of makes you scratch your head and think about it. But what if this variant was planned for such a time as this? And they're getting rid of our loopholes by making them by prescription only. So now you still need to go to a doctor, get the jab, do whatever. Biden's going into Congress now talking, there might be a requirement that everybody gets it. Good luck with that. You have Oprah buying up a whole bunch of land in Maui, and then all of a sudden there's a fire, and she just happened to get so lucky that the fire stopped right before it got onto her property. And we won't talk about how the same exact thing happened in California in 2017, and there was a fire after she bought up a whole lot of land, and the fire was put out conveniently right before. I'm not saying she started the fire, but I'm saying that she might have had some inside information, and it's enough for you to unplug from her nonsense. It's enough for you to unplug from the financial institutions. People are getting a voice. They're using their money, and they're going away, and they're tanking these places. Now, is it an agenda? Is it a plan to tank the old ways and move into the new ways? Probably, most likely, but that doesn't have anything to do with you. That doesn't have anything to do with me. If they come a knocking and you need to defend yourself, then you defend yourself. You don't go out looking for trouble. That's just stupid. You're playing right into their hand. But when you unplug from the system, it doesn't matter if they close everything down, which I've been saying for a while. That's their plan in the first place, to close down every brick and mortar and to make you do everything online, because without brick and mortar, cash is useless. And when you need everything online, you need a digital currency. And with that digital currency, they can not only track you, but with the national ID, they can see if you've been a bad boy or girl and posted things you shouldn't have posted, and they can cut you off. So you better mind your P's and Q's. That's my belief. That's my opinion. Is it truth? Hell, I don't know. I'm nobody. I don't have an inside person. I just watch and I make assumptions. You can too. If you think I'm wrong, put it down in the comments. If you think I'm right, put it down in the comments. As a matter of fact, do me a favor and like, share, and subscribe. You do that, this message gets out to more people, and maybe I can pull my own weight. I didn't start this by any means. It's what people have been talking about for a long, long time. But I'm trying to chime in, and I'm trying to make my voice heard to make other voices heard. These other voices coming around, they have a lot more influence than I do. But I'm still in there in the fight, and I'm trying to get people to wake up. So do me a favor, and if you know anybody that might benefit from this message, share me. If you don't want to share me, then I will link the video from Poplar, from Pinball, and from Prepared Homestead down in my comment section, down in my descriptions. How about that? I'll put it there. And you can watch them. And the people that are better at this than I am can explain it, and maybe this movement can move on. But going back to the intro, if you don't give me a thumbs up, I might be your stepfather one day. And if I find out you didn't like me, that's just going to make Sunday dinner awkward. But I digress. Let's move on. The conspiracy porn is just getting me going, ladies and gentlemen. I live for this stuff. I do. I see something happening. The days are getting shorter and colder, and that's my favorite time of year. I can start watching cooking channels and doing all of this and lighting the oven again because it's not 497 degrees outside. It's a great time of year, and this message is fantastic, that we need to unplug and we need to go at it. But enough of that. I kind of teased you a little bit with a thing in the intro about what I think is the number one source, the resource that you need, that all preppers, homesteaders, people that want to unplug, and people who are seeing SHTF just start to come into the fold. What is that resource? It's wood. In my honest opinion, if you could catch it in a thumbnail, I put a little tiny bit in there. You know, everybody thinks with wood, you know, well, yeah, you can build shelter and you can heat with it so you stay warm, you know, and you can cook your food and all of that stuff. But what more can you do with that? Oh, my friend, you don't have a clue. With timber or trees, you know, trees are better. It gives you basically everything that you need to survive, to get off the grid. And when I say off the grid, I don't just mean land in the backwoods somewhere where you don't have an account and you don't have a phone and you don't have electricity. No, not that. I'm talking off grid as in, even if you are in the city, a little bit harder if you're in an apartment, but if you have just a little tiny patch of land and you're in the city, you can unplug from that institution. You don't have to worry about if the bank's closed down or if your debit card's not working due to a glitch. If you don't know why I'm doing this, go back to one of my past videos and see. I explain what I think the glitches really are. But you can unplug for that. You don't need it, because timber can be your financial source, and you can start many other jobs for timber. If you have the right processing equipment for lumber, for rough wood, you can get everything that you need. If you have a way to make charcoal, charcoal is used from everything from health and hygiene to compost, to growing your own food, to a deodorizer, to a repellent, to a cleaner, you know, to medicine, more or less, water filtration, you know, electricity. Charcoal is used for so much stuff. What you don't have in charcoal, you can have ash. You can mix ash and you can make soap with ash. You know, it's proven that ash will help antiseptic. You know, it'll help you from your wounds becoming infected. Charcoal and ash can be used for ways to catch your game. And I'll put it like that. If you have a little bit of brass and you have a little bit of lead, and you add a little bit of this and a little bit of that to some ground up charcoal, then you could go hunting for your food. Regular, unburnt, unprocessed lumber will hold your food and will make traps. And not to mention, as you're processing it, gasification is huge to make electricity, to fuel your vehicles, to cook with, anything. And while you're getting that wood gas, you can treat it and process it, and you can make methanol. And with a little, just a few tweaks and a little bit of conversion, it will run small engines, it will run big engines, and anybody who uses methanol will tell you how important this fuel is. If you're worried about not having enough money, and about the pandemic and the new protocols and the regulations and lockdowns and possibly this and that and the other thing, keeping you locked up in your house to where you can't make money and you can't pay your rent, and you can't buy food, and you can't yada yada yada, you can make soap, you can process the wood, and you can make charcoal, you can sell ash. If you're a good woodworker and you learn stuff, you can make things with wood. And there are so many other side businesses that you can use, that you can do with using wood. It's better than gold. You're writing your own ticket if you have it. And like I said, with the processing equipment, if you have the right things, you can make so many sources of fuel for electricity and for transportation. It's nuts. Start researching it, start looking into it. If you have the money, it doesn't matter if you have a fireplace, start getting some firewood. Look around. There was so many people because of the storms and stuff this year, and because of downed power lines, that they were cutting their trees left and right, and there was free lumber to be had. Now you heat with it, you've got to season it and everything like that, but if you're using a gasifier, it's good because it's going to be smoky, and smoke is what you want in the first place. And with a gasifier, you can make the wood gas and you can make the methanol and bio crude. So many good things for wood, and you can get it dirt cheap. I might go into further detail about projects that I have done, and a huge advantageous project that I have planned that I'm going to need help with, and it's going to take a while. But if I can ever get it done, then I'll show you. It's pretty cool, but it's built up in my mind. I don't know if it's possible yet. But either which way, brothers and sisters, like-minded people, I'm so glad everybody's waking up. This gets me excited. It fuels my fire. It gets me going. Because if we can get enough people to say stop, and we can get enough people unplugged, and it's us against them, they're going to crash. I don't condone violence, and violence will get you nowhere. You live by the sword, you die by the sword. A revolution in that way will never happen. It will never work. And don't do it. You may feel like you want to, but don't. But there's another revolution that you can join in. There's a revolution for a new old way. To go back to the ways that our forefathers lived before all of this was subject and we just became lackadaisical and idiotic. We don't know how to do anything anymore. Get yourself some information. Read up. Get yourself schooled in all of this stuff, because you're going to need it. If they do this lockdown again, that's going to be it. That's it. Think about all the inflation, all the stuff that we were out of, all the lockdowns, the protests, the violence, the crime, all of that, all around the world last time. And we were in a good position when they did it last time. We're in a terrible position now. It will not work. It will not be good. And it's just the catalyst that they need to collapse everything and usher in this new thing. So keep that in your mind, ladies and gentlemen, with whatever step you're going to do next. Don't be afraid. Just have some information. So God willing, we'll see you tomorrow.